All right, boys and girls. So, about like I guess 13, 14 hours after the schedule release for the NFL, and as you guys know, it's time for me to start talking about the Bengals a little bit more on this channel because the schedule released yesterday, and I think the last video I had, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if I made a draft one, but it's been a minute. It's been kind of shadowed by the Reds a little bit, even though I haven't made a Reds video in a while either. But Cavs playoff videos, they've obviously been a big thing on this channel. But now obviously their season unfortunately has come to a heartbreaking end. So you're going to see a lot more of each. The Bengals, I guess, with the if there's like a big move or contract extension, obviously there's some stuff going on with Trey Hendrickson. I really want to touch on that a little bit later though, but. The schedule release is, another great day for the NFL, I guess. I mean, it's interesting to see like who you play every week, and I'm gonna just give you kind of an overview, and then I'll just tell you like what I feel about each matchup. I mean, there's a lot of I guess is the right word, but interesting matchups. I guess that's kind of basic. It is what it is. Let's just get through every single week, and I'll just give you my kind of thoughts on it, and then I'll tell you if I have like a ceiling or like a floor. I'll give you my record prediction for each of those. But let's dive into it, man. So we start off week one for the second time in 3 years at the Cleveland Browns. So the Bengals, they're returning to face a rotating Browns quarterback room. I think it could be Shador. Could it be Joe Flacco? I have no idea. I heard Shador is looking a lot better than Dylan Gabriel in practice, but the Bengals are hoping their new left guard, Dylan Fairchild, can hold his own against Mason Graham, their new pick, and Myles Garrett, who signed a historic contract extension. I mean, the team has started 0-2 for 3 straight years, and that's obviously come back to bite them in the butt at the end in 2 of those years. You could argue probably all 3 years because they could have the one seed, like they could have had the one seed just like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So it's going to be a major tone setter. So I'm not saying we're definitively going to win, but I just expect Zach to have his guys ready and play some guys in preseason. Don't give them too much rust, but it's going to be a tone setter, and it's going to be in Cleveland. And this is a Browns team that's just not very good. So if there's any chance for us to get back in this, week one win column for the first time since 2021, now is the time to do it. But that's as far as week one goes. Let's move on to week two. So then we host in the home opener the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a rematch of like the can't zero me game, I guess if you want to call it that, because I don't. If I'm not mistaken, when we played the Jags 2 years ago, Burrow was out with health. If I'm trying to remember. Yeah, in 2023 he was out with that wrist injury. That was actually the game after I believe he got hurt. So I mean, the can't zero me game. I mean, that's obviously a very, I guess, known game here because it was the start of that, AFC champion, year. And then Travis Hunter's debut he's a two-way threat. The Jags were the league worst in pass defense last year as well. So is Burrow gonna be able to take advantage of that? And then Burrow's obviously he's 5-4, I believe, against number one overall quarterbacks. And so I think this is a game that the Bengals should win, and they definitely can, as long as they don't get those, early season jitters like they tend to. Would I be surprised if they dropped this? I would not, especially the fact that it's in week two and we just don't have a good track record. So yeah, I'll say this is a game that should go well. I'd say the first two should go well. I'm not going to say that both are going to be dubs. I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we drop one of those games, but I will never have faith in the first couple weeks. I'm not saying we definitively lose, but I'm not saying I'm far from saying that we're going to win both. Then week three, tough one here. It's a rematch, or not a rematch, but it's the matchup between two Triple Crown candidates, Burrow and Chase against Justin Jefferson in a Triple Crown showdown. I'm guessing that J.J. McCarthy will probably start this game. He's got some ex-Wolverine teammates that he's going to be going up against, like Dax Hill, DJ Turner, and Jenkins as well. So let's see if there's any, I guess, like we'll see if there's any familiarity, I guess, and obviously a lot of Buckeyes. Or I guess how many Buckeyes do the Bengals have? Like two, three? I don't know, but I mean, I'm guessing that there's going to be some. That I mean, I'm a Buckeye fan, so obviously there's some shot at kind of want like revenge, I guess, on JJ McCarthy a little bit because of what he did to us. But the Vikings are playoff contenders, and they're looking to kind of rebound from that early 2024 exit, even though they had such a stellar year and didn't even finish. I believe they didn't finish. Yeah, they didn't finish first in their division, but that's just because the Lions were that good. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I expect a good game here, but we'll see. And then we move on to Week 4. A rematch of one of the greatest games last year in the NFL. Burrow versus Bo Nix in high altitude on, I believe this is a Monday night game if I'm not mistaken. Tee Higgins, he went off last year in the overtime when I was actually at that game. He had, I think, 130 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. And Denver's defense has gotten even better. I mean, they added cornerback Jahdae Barron and to pair with Patrick Surtain. So that should be an interesting matchup, and I hope that we get another classic between these two teams. Then we go to Week 5. This is going to be another tough one here. I mean, this is a brutal stretch. I mean, Weeks 2 to 6 are pretty brutal, I would say. But yeah, this is the game of the week contender. I believe the Bengals are number 1 pass offense, obviously, against the Lions, number 1 total offense. So offensive showdown, you like high scoring, this could be the game for you. The Lions' run-first identity, I think it challenges the Bengals' kind of rebuilt and revamped, linebacking core with, Knight Jr. and also, Carter as well. So I believe Brady's probably going to be in the broadcast booth. So Brady's going to be coming to Cincinnati. So this should be a fun matchup to kind of watch. And I'm hoping that we come out on top, man. I mean, that's just how it goes. I don't really expect too much as far as like the result because of how the Lions are last year. But I'm hoping that, at home, this is a game that we can just win. Then we move on to Week 6. We head to Lambeau Field. How about that? Bengals face an elite rushing attack. And their rush defense, obviously, we know how piss poor it was last year. 147 yards per game, led by Jordan Love. They added a nose tackle. I think it was TJ Slate. Yeah, he returned to Green Bay. And then also Jerry Montgomery is the D-line coach. So could this be another one score Lambeau classic that we probably I'm not sure how it's going to go, but this is just too tough. I can't even call them playoff contenders because the Bengals haven't made it the last 2 years, but I would call them contenders to make the playoffs, definitely. I mean, both these teams have had winning records the last few years, so it's a tough one, but could it be another one-scoring game? We'll see. But that's Week 6 for you. Let's move on to Week 7. A primetime Thursday night game. How about that? I'm trying to remember the last time the Bengals and Steelers have played in primetime. I can't remember, but could this be Burrow against Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers somehow just decides, okay, I'm going to go to the Steelers? 4 years after the, infamous, I guess, in Cincinnati, but very famous in Green Bay overtime duel 2 years ago, or 4 years ago, 3 years ago? Yeah. So I hope that it's not the same outcome, obviously, but Aaron Rodgers is not even there. I mean, Cam Taylor-Britt could be a physical battle with DK Metcalf. They obviously traded away Pickens. He's in Dallas now. Justin Fields is now he's with the Jets, I believe. Yeah, under head coach Aaron Glenn, and then Mason Taylor faces off against Bengals Logan Wilson. Bengals have kind of had the upper hand over the Steelers, I guess, in the last 4 years. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, what are they, 5-4, something like that? Yeah, 5-4 in the last 4 years against the Steelers. So they've done a lot better. But the Steelers are a tough team. Thursday Night Football. I think their offseason, I mean, they added obviously Jack Sawyer and Will Howard. They had pissed off a lot of Ohio football fans. Whether you be a Cincinnati fan or a Cleveland fan. But this is another good game, and I'm hoping that we kick their butt on primetime television at home. Should be a good game though. Now we go to Week 8 against the New York Jets. So obviously Justin Fields, like I said, he's in New York. Mason Taylor faced off against Bengals linebacker Logan Wilson. Again, they've historically dominated these matchups against the Jets at home. Historically, they've been dominant against the Jets at home. Other than the 2009 playoff game, I mean, I don't remember the last time the Jets beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. Yeah, I feel good about this one. I mean, this is a game that we should win. We usually play well against the Jets. I mean, there's been a couple here and there where they've gotten us, but I like the Bengals' chances in this one. Again, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's so many factors that could come into play here. But I'm going to give us a good chance to win this game for sure. Now we go to Week 9 at home. Caleb Williams comes to Paycor in another number 1 overall quarterback clash. I believe it's Zach Taylor also versus Ben Johnson. I saw that Miami assistant is also the Bears head coach now. Should be a lot of mutuals. Like I said, the last time we played the Bears, Justin Fields was there, and they took it to us in Week 2. So Potential shootout, a lot of mutual familiarity, I guess, in scheme and like just, I guess, personnel, if you want to call it that. But should be a good quarterbacking duel. Then we have the bye week in week 10, and then we come out to play the Pittsburgh Steelers in Acrisure Stadium. So Burrow has beaten Big Ben, Pickett, and Russell Wilson at Acrisure. So could it be Mason Rudolph? Like I said, it could be Aaron Rodgers. I have no idea what their status is. I have not looked into that, and I don't plan to. But could it be Rodgers? Could it be Rudolph? Could it be both the other their quarterbacks from last year are now in New York? So I mean, it's going to be Chase versus, I believe they have Darius Slay now, so it's going to be Chase against Darius Slay. Can he burn him? Can they just sweep them? Like, that would be awesome. That would be something that I would definitely take with me, no matter how bad the Bengals, kind of blunder the season with like another 9-8 record potentially. I mean, it's always a street fight in the Pittsburgh cold, and, I expect no different between these two teams. Week 12, we play the Patriots, a revenge game for last year's just bad week 1 game. That was just an embarrassment. But Drake May, I believe they got a new left tackle in Will Campbell. So Bengals front, healthy Camp Sample. I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, you look at Trey Hendrickson's contract situation. I'm hoping that they can figure something out so that he doesn't sit out, because I believe he said that he's going to sit out. And it's just been poor communication on both parts. But yeah, Mike Vrabel also makes his return. He's now the new head coach. Mike Vrabel versus Zach Taylor. I don't want to call it a chess match. There's no. I mean, I guess they've had a playoff duel as well. I mean, Zach Taylor has gotten the upper hand, but like I said, this is not I guess, a chess duel. It's just like a battle between two decent coaches. I mean, Vrabel, I would say, is a better coach, but still, some decent coaches. But then, on a short week, we play the Baltimore Ravens on Thanksgiving night. Something about the last, I believe it's the last 3 seasons, or 4 seasons, I believe. Yeah, they played Baltimore in Baltimore on like a short week, so I don't know what the NFL is doing. And then you look at Ravens at Bengals, it's always a 1 p.m. game. The only primetime Ravens at Bengals game was the postseason game. That was the only time. Harbaugh's 22-3 at home in primetime games. And it's going to be, another Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson. They had 2 incredible showings last year. I thought Burrow outplayed him in both, but the Ravens, because of the Bengals' atrocious defense, they got both. But Al Golden, we'll see. You're going to need to prepare yourself for this one. Shemar Stewart, I don't know what his thing is. I know he's also had some drama, which just bothers me. I mean, this team has just had nothing but drama, but it's going to be a big test, especially against that. I believe they signed Derrick Henry to a contract extension, so it's going to be a big test for that Bengals defense. And they obviously they lived up to I guess, Derrick Henry containing him, but in overtime, he just broke away. So they're going to have to contain him the whole game. Then week 14 against the Bills. I mean, I don't think the Bengals, this is their first return to Buffalo since that playoff duel. And Burrow is obviously 2-0 against, Allen and the Bills. That playoff snow blowout, like I said, was just, that was a fun game I'll never forget. But the Bills upgraded. Allen, they thrive in December. That's just kind of what they live. I believe he's 21-9 in his December game. There's no stat about that. But the Bengals are going to need big games from their defense. I mean, Knight, Carter, Stewart, they're all going to have to step up. And, Burrow's going to have to, this is the games that Joe Burrow lives for. So I believe that he can get it done. Wouldn't be surprised if we win this game because of how just Joe Burrow just tends to rise. And, excuse me, for us to limit Josh, going to have to be, it's going to take all of us. So I'm hoping that we can do that. And then Joe Burrow can just match up pretty well. Jamar Chase has a great game. And let's hope to get to 3-0 against Josh Allen and the Bills in the Joe Burrow era. And then, week 15, a rematch with the Baltimore Ravens. 17 days after the first meeting. I mean, Joe Burrow, he has torched Baltimore in 2024. Same with Jamar Chase. I mean, Joe Burrow had 830 yards. He had 9 total touchdowns. And the Ravens, obviously, they counter with Derrick Henry. And also, they got a new safety in Malachi Starks. That's a good pickup for them, honestly. I really like Malachi Starks. And Lamar Jackson, he also tends to rise and shine just like Josh Allen does, and Joe Burrow does, and Pat Mahomes. All the guys, all the elite quarterbacks, they tend to. Lamar Jackson is no different, and can take all of us. Like I said, a new revamped defensive line against a Ravens team that's just it's gonna need a lot. It's gonna need a lot to slow them down. That's how I look at it. Don't love our chances because the Ravens, and I guess just the way that they have played against us the last 2 years. It's really been annoying. But it is what it is, and hopefully we get our lick back with them. Week 16, the last road game of the season, the end of a brutal 4 week stretch. It's going to be on Sunday Night Football, I believe. So Burrow versus, like, what is it? Is it Burrow versus Tua, like, for this meeting number two? I know he got hurt in the first one in 2022, 3 years ago, but Bengals secondary going to have to do their part. Miami speed is tested. Obviously, they got Tyreek Hill. Not really sure what his status is, but it is what it is. Like, I don't know if he's gonna play or not. I know that he said some stuff like, "Oh, I'm out." I haven't looked into that, to be honest, but yeah. I mean, Joe Burrow in prime time, December, you know that he's absolute money. So yeah, I believe in him. I believe in the team as a whole. If it comes to like December, but again, they're gonna have to start strong because these December things, they can't be always just, oh, it's gonna get us maybe into the playoffs. It's gonna have to get us into the playoffs and then some. Like in 2022, when we were like 5-4, 6-4, we knew we were making it. It was just about how we felt hot going into the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, the Dolphins, they obviously, they're still a good team. I still believe that they can make some noise, but again, I think this is a game that we definitely can't win in Miami. Now we open the two-game, I guess, last homestand. Hopefully, there's more home games, but we'll see about that. But we got the Cardinals at the Bengals. First, Kyler Murray against Joe Burrow meeting. Will Johnson gets Jamar Chase. He had 15 catches in his last Arizona game, the game after Jamar Chase famously said, "I'm always open." Then, the 7-11, I think, game was when that started. But Walter Nolan on Arizona against Shemar Stewart on the Bengals. Those are two former teammates. They face off. So, again, this is a game that we should and can win. We'll just see how it all gets put together. And hopefully everybody can stay healthy, man. And then we end the way we started. Week 18 at home against the Cleveland Browns. Say what you want about Joe Burrow against the Browns. He has been very, very good in this home matchup. I'm hoping that the Bengals, they can finish strong, start strong, and finish strong. Zach Taylor is 13-6 against opponents in December and January at Paycor. So I'm hoping that this just continues. For the Browns, I mean, I believe they got, I can't even pronounce this guy's name, but they got a rookie linebacker. I think it's Schlesinger. They're going to have to cover Mike Gesicki because he's obviously an extended tight end for the Bengals. So Burrow has just been good against Cleveland in the home matchup. I mean, the first 2 years he didn't get the wins because obviously he threw for over 400 yards in the game in Cincinnati, and then he had one bad game against the Browns at home, and that was in 2021. So as far as like that, I mean, I feel good about, I guess, the matchup, but we'll just see how it all gets put together. So as far as the ceiling and floor, guys, so the ceiling I'm gonna say is 13-4. Burrow plays the full season, obviously, like he did last year. The defense improves under Al Golden. We're hoping that Lou Anarumo was the problem because of his scheme and how he adjusted. But the AFC North, I'm assuming that they split in the best case scenario. I mean, I'm not gonna say we sweep the AFC North as like the best case scenario because I also want to be realistic. Wins over playoff hopefuls like maybe the Lions, the Bills, the Dolphins, something cooks up, and we don't drop some stupid games like we tend to do, aka Week 1 last year against the Patriots, the team that got the number two pick, whatever it was. But yeah, that's the ceiling. I'm gonna say 13-4. But the floor, because of the Bengals, another slow start, 0-2 for the fourth straight year it would be. We lose toss-ups just like we did last year. We got absolutely just like super unlucky last year. I mean, we lose toss-ups to Denver, Minnesota, the Steelers, Baltimore. We lose in the same fashion we did last year because I really thought we were winning that game in Cincinnati, and then we somehow just blew it. I mean, we had a chance to sweep them, and we blew both of them. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. The offensive line or injuries just continue to derail the team. 7-10 is the floor, and I think that's a little generous. I was going to say maybe 6-11 as the floor, but I think 7-10 is realistic. I don't think that this team is bad enough where they're just going to fall completely off the map if it doesn't go well. I feel like they'll pick themselves up a little bit towards the end. But even in the worst case, I still believe they'll get it together at the end. But I just think it'll be way too late, just like it was last year, even though we finished with 9-8 record. But that's just how I feel, guys. The ceiling is 13-4. I'll have a record prediction maybe later on, but right now I just kind of wanted to do an overview of the season and all the games. That's the schedule for you. You guys have a great one. Hoo day, as always. Let's have a great season coming up.